4:47 a.m. in San Diego. We made it across the border last night and we're staying on the Harbor Island, fairly close to the San Diego airport, so I'm just gonna head out for a quick run, a few miles before we fly for 10 hours of traveling. So this weekend in Tijuana, I got no running in. I did get to get an unexpected 5 miles in on Friday before we left San Diego. But then Saturday night, I did get 10,000 steps worth of dancing, so it wasn't a complete loss. And then Sunday was just sleeping, hanging out with family, and then we left to come back across. I'm not really much of a city person, but I have to admit, it is pretty beautiful at 5 o'clock in the morning. Everything is still and silent, and got a nice path here by the water. Not sure how far I'll go. My gut has been painfully rolling and churning the last few days with a bit of Montezuma's revenge. And we got about 10 hours of traveling today, so we'll just play it by ear. Yeah, taking it super slow. First mile was 11:54, I think. It's crazy how much traveling and 4 days of going to bed really late, with one of those nights being 3 o'clock in the morning, eating delicious but different food, and whatever else can affect you, because my joints are kind of achy. I feel a little nauseous. Like I said, my gut is gurgling, and just a general fatigue. I think I'm gonna cut it short and do it slow and short, and get on the plane. And I think tomorrow may be our first threshold run. Something crazy that happened our 20-something years in the military. I never let my passport expire. And then our last 7 years of retirement, I just kind of let it go. Or I thought I let it go. And we applied for our new passports before this Tijuana trip. And I got a letter saying, you already have a passport. And I was like, no. I had to fill out some lost or stolen passport papers and mail them back in. My husband got his passport within like a week after we got it, after we applied. Well, apparently I had updated my passport in 2019 because we were going to go to Israel. But then the pandemic happened and that was canceled, so I guess I just deleted out of my brain that I had a passport. And so the passport center told me I had to report it lost. So I did. And then they wanted more information, so I'm digging through all of my documents. And lo and behold, I find a 2019 passport. So since I had already reported it lost and stolen, I called back and told them that I had found it, and they were like, well, it's null and void now. So if you try to use it, you'll be detained. I was like, ah. So time draws closer for us to go to the trip. And they tell me, call back 2 weeks before your trip and we'll try to expedite it some more. I called back every day between those 2 weeks. Nothing, 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 nothing. Meanwhile, our relatives in Mexico are telling us, oh, just come over, it'll be fine. So we decided to wing it. And I am like kind of freaking out because after talking to the passport people so many times and them telling me, if you go to Mexico without a passport, you're gonna be detained. I'm like, oh, freaking out about it. Anyway, we go and we're just praying like, okay, Lord, we're gonna go to our sister's wedding, and it was amazing, wonderful time with family. Haven't been there in years. And like 20 minutes before it's time for us to leave, our nephew goes, hey, why don't you get a Medico pass? I'm like, what's a Medico pass? So he tells us if you have certain medical issues or whatever, you can get it. And we're like, how? I was like, oh, let me call my friend. So he calls his buddy, and within 15 minutes, we paid like $50 US, and we had a Medico pass. So we basically bypassed like 3 hours worth of traffic. It was crazy. We just went in this lane, scanned this thing that popped up on our phone, and bypassed this whole huge line of traffic. Keep in mind, I don't have my passport still. So we bypass all this traffic, and then we get up to what's called the ready lane, which means you have a passport card, and it goes a lot faster than the other lanes. Well, go up in there, and the guy's like, oh, okay, you don't have a passport card? And okay, well, next time go in the all traffic lane. And he just chit chats with us for like not even 3 minutes, like 2 minutes. And I'm like, okay, welcome to the US. And in we go. I mean, that was easier than all the other times we've been to Mexico with a passport in all of our lives. It was insane. So I know that we were praying, and we had a lot of family and friends praying for us too, and God totally answered that prayer in like an amazing way. So grateful. And it's nice to be back in the US, even though I do love Mexico. But it's nice to be back where I can run. Mind the Mermaid, Frank Mando, 2003. Urban trees. Whoa. Oh, here comes somebody running. Getting ready to head out of San Diego. I only did 3 slow miles because my guts were rumbly, so, but glad I got it in. I'm not gonna lament the fact that I missed my 14.5 miles. I'm just gonna be happy about getting in 8 miles over the past weekend. And we had such a good time in Tijuana with family and fun at the wedding and dancing, and I'm grateful that we got to do all that. So now I got shaken out of my routine for a little bit, and now I'll be extra happy to be back to it. Got my brekkie, some egg brekkie tacos with cilantro and pico and some guac, salsa, brekkie potatoes, and my water. I don't have my calendar but I'd be crossing runs number 44 and 45 off the calendar. Yay!